It's another Monster High showcase. There's no real order to this, so let's go to this shelf right here, which is a bit more eclectic, but there is theming going on, and I'm going to explain it in a second. Let's start with this girl here. This is one of my Spectra dolls. This is Ghouls Night Out Spectra, and she's very fun. She has all this chain detailing on her jewelry, like her earrings are little locks, and her necklace is a chain, and her dress has all this patterning, but also you can kind of see it. Let me pull out a little. Her hands have gloves, but they're molded gloves. So her hands, like her skin is gloves, basically, which is a bit of a shame because this doll, one of the appeals is the extremities of her limbs are transparent, like you can see in her footwear here. So the fact that her hands are gloved like this is really unfortunate because one of her main appeals is that, well, her hands are supposed to be transparent. But it still works. The very light eyebrows are a bit weird, and the one I have is damaged. So it looks like she has an eyebrow piercing, but it's just damage. She's also sun damaged. You can kind of see the top of her head's a bit more yellow than the rest of her body. And you can see some of the yellowing of the plastic around her limbs and everything. I believe that's induced by sun damage. She also has like a bit of damage around like the plastic of her legs and her joints and stuff, but she still holds position very well. So she's floating at the moment. Spectra is a ghost, so that's why she has this very pale color. And a fun fact is when they were designing this doll, they specifically make the mold so she has high cheekbones. If we compare, for example, with this doll, which I'll come to later, she has a much rounder face, and this doll has much higher cheekbones, which I think is fun, especially for older dolls that didn't have so much variety compared to newer generations. One of the unfortunate things with older dolls is I believe she has permanently damaged hair. I've done everything in my power to try and get her hair to look nice, but it remains this very thinned out fibers that are kind of clumped together. I believe it's because there's because the roots of the hair, and it's my understanding that they're held in place with glue and that this glue can seep out. It's also possible it was damaged by UV rays from the sun, which is also probably why she's yellowed. Who knows? I did so many baths for this girl. I did so much to try and get her hair to look really nice, and it just didn't work. So she's damaged, but we love her. She's great. One of my first Spectra dolls, and she's one of my favorite characters, so I had to have her. Ghouls Night Out, like in general as a series, is like one of the most easily available series you can get for older dolls. Case in point, this is Ghouls Night Out. The seller labeled her and everything. Rochelle Goyle. And Rochelle is a French gargoyle. And let me tell you, I loved this character as a kid because I'm from a French-speaking part of the world. And I just, something about her, adored her. She's harder to get than, say, a Spectra Ghouls Night Out, especially in a more complete state, although the seller was selling her as a complete doll, but I did some research and this bag is not the right one. It's from a different doll. I can't remember which one, but it's not from the Ghouls Night Out Rochelle. But it still complements her look, so I leave her with it. I also did a lot of cleaning on this doll, so her hair looks much nicer than it did when it arrived. It's much silkier, much smoother, and much less damaged compared to Spectra. And since her skin's a bit darker, if she has any sun damage, it's not immediately obvious. I really like this doll. Like, she has so many fleurs de lis, like patterning on her, like her little hair accessories are really cute. And I do like the pink on her with her gray skin. I think it looks really good, and I really like the blue streaks. And she has these, you can kind of see it in the back. Again, I'm not touching the dolls because I don't want them to fall off because some of them are precariously balanced. But Rochelle does have wings, these bat-like gargoyle wings. And I do like her striped scarf, and I like the sequin covered like arm coverings. I think that's really cute. Off the shoulder dress. And the Ghouls Night Out series has a lot of like plastic accessories. So this clear vest is completely made of plastic. It's awful. Like, it looks really, really cool, but it's awful to put on or take off the doll because it's very, very rigid. I think the plastic works better here on this dress because it's very shiny. It looks really nice. So I think it works better on Rochelle. And yeah, no. And I will say, with the colors and everything, I have seen more recently her being headcanoned as a trans woman. And I think that's really cool, even if it's just based off her color scheme. I think that's fun. And I don't know if she's been brought back in a newer series, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did something with that. That'd be very fun. All right, moving on to this corner, which is a bit more cohesive thematic-wise, because I don't typically mention like the books or the games or whatever in the background, but this is relevant. Underneath all these dolls, I have my collection of Monster High books, which I got when I was a kid. And also, this French series, which is called Les Royaumes de l'Énergie, and that is a mermaid series of books that I read when I was a kid, and I really, really liked. I haven't reread them because I know I probably would not enjoy them as much. But because it's Monster High and mermaids and stuff, all of my, well, not all, but most of the dolls here are all aquatic monsters. Or ghouls, I guess. And this is the first, well, not the first, I think Monster Fest Laguna here was my first Laguna from the newer series, or just in general. I don't think I have an older generation Laguna, but this is Generation 3, so the most recent doll series, Laguna. And Laguna's a sea monster. So, and I don't know why they made her pink. I still don't think it works the best. It's one of the reasons I hesitate to get any dolls, really, with her. But I saw this style and I really liked it. It's the first one that I felt was not as messy. She has this cool transparent jellyfish bag and these dead fish skeleton accessories, like her earrings are curled fish skeletons. You can kind of see it here. And the tank top has mesh on it. It's very sporty. And her pants have this clear, like, camo coral look. And they're the main feature of the outfit that made me buy the doll and, like, really enjoy the look. The buns are fun. They're a different hairstyle. Her makeup is whatever. But honestly, for the standard dolls, like the school outfit dolls, this is my first Laguna that I was like, oh, I like this outfit. I like this concept for this character. The rest of the dolls on here are older dolls, are G1 dolls. And it makes sense that she's here. She's a sea monster. These girls are sea monsters. The outlier would be my Skelita. I don't remember. Is it Calaveras? Calavera? Calavera? Her last name. She is I believe, what's the name? She's a Day of the Dead skeleton. They have a specific name for it. And because of the way her skull is positioned, it does make her eyes look like they're pointing in opposite directions. But I think that's funny more than anything. Her hair was damaged when I got her. So unfortunately it doesn't have that. Her hair is supposed to be styled in a certain way, so it like looks bigger than it is. It's hard to explain. If you look up pictures, you'll see what I mean, but I styled it to kind of look nice. And the most prominent thing about this doll is how detailed the mold is for, well, her skeleton features. Like, she has a full rib cage torso and hands, and underneath her skirt she's got like a full, like, let's see, can I show it? Like a full skeleton pelvis and all these leg bones. This one is secondhand, so her hip joints are loose, so she has to be sitting or like properly supported standing. And she is damaged. She has like highlighter damage and stuff that I don't particularly feel like risking damaging the plastic to get off. But she came as a 2 set, like a double pack essentially, with Lorna McNessie here. And yeah, it's a hell of a name. She is the daughter of the Loch Ness Monster, so a lake monster. And she's fun, and I believe she's a Generation 2, one of the few Generation 2 dolls I have, which is noticeable in their much rounder, more princessy faces, like much less, like if you look here, the features are sharp, fairly sharp. Rochelle's an exception from G1, but most of the G2 dolls have this like rounded look, very princessy, doe-eyed look. And I might be completely wrong on that actually, but if I remember correctly, that's the case. She is a G2 doll. And the seller I got them from was selling them as a pair. I picked them up together because I didn't feel like separating them, which is, I know, insoling inanimate objects. But I do like them as a pair. I think they're very cute. The listing was very cute. Lorna's hair is also damaged, and the little cap is a bit flattened. But there's not much I can do unless I want to remove it, which would make it impossible to then make it balance on her head again. And she is missing some accessories, but she does have her big chunky bag with all this like Celtic knot detailing on it. She's missing a belt, and Skelita is missing everything except the skirt and the shoes. Like, she's missing literally every accessory, which is fine because the most interesting part about the doll is the skeleton features, which would be covered up if she was fully dressed. But Lorna, most of the interest comes from the accessories, because it's really fun references and stuff. Because she has this, like, pattern with hearts and, like, Loch Ness monsters with waves. And it's very fun, all the scale detailing she has with the fins and the webbed fingers. She's a very sparkly doll, which translates on camera a bit, maybe not as well as in real life, but her entire skin is glittery. She's got a long tail, which you can kind of see in the back here. And her shoes, they're kind of interesting. Ignore the dolls in the background, it's trying to focus on. You can see it's like brick detailing, and I believe it's a reference... Oh, it's a reference to... It's a prominent, like, landmark in Scotland, I believe. It's like a fortification wall or something. I can't remember the name of it, I'm really sorry. But it's an interesting piece of detailing that I like they added to her. So yeah, that's the pair, and I had to sit them here because I wanted Lorna next to the other mermaids. So Skelita was part of the deal, so she gets to be part of the miscellaneous group right here. Next up on the chopping block, we have Peri and Pearl. And Peri and Pearl are, like, one of the more striking dolls in my collection, because it's a two-headed doll. And I read up on this, and at first I thought they were a reference to, like, two-headed snakes, because the body is very serpentine. Yeah, it's Peri and Pearl Serpentine, I believe is their last name. So, like, very serpent-like. I was like, oh, that's cool. But apparently, their monster species is Hydra, which I guess makes sense, because a Hydra is a snake with, like, many heads. But this doll is repainted. I added more detailing on it, because a lot of it was very flat. I also changed the makeup a little bit, like I just did their lips. I didn't paint the accessories, but I did paint, like, all the green detailing on the tail, and all the purple detailing on the fins. And I put some pink in between, like, on the webbing on their fingers. Although I don't know, because I didn't have, like... I didn't have a good match, I think, or something. Anyways, if I were to redo the doll, I don't think I would do the pink. But regardless, I also changed out the dress. I made it myself. This is, like, a sequin dress with, like, black tulle. Just because their original dress is very messy, because it's themed around, like, treasure chests and, like... pirate treasure at the bottom of the ocean, so it was very It was a very busy pattern that I didn't think worked very well, so I think the sequin dress works better. And this doll is missing a couple accessories. It's missing an earring, and it's missing it's very unfortunate they're missing this one, but like the doll has a tail piercing. And that one is just completely missing, and they're impossible to find or to buy for cheap because the accessories get sold for like 20 bucks a piece or something online, which is insane. It's legitimately insane how much they go for. But for people desperate to reform dolls or to complete dolls, like, they're willing to pay that price, so I know why it's like that. And you can see that Peri, I believe this one's Peri, has like this dark blue hair with a little bit of white, and Pearl has this white hair. But what's not obvious is that she also has blue hair. It's like the under part of her hair is blue. It just kind of looks like her sister's hair is like coming around, but it's not. Like, that's actually her hair as well. And you can see some of that, like, earlier mentioned, like, pirate treasure theming here, like, with these crossed keys and the doubloons and all these, like, keys and treasures, like, very Little Mermaid coded, of, like, just picking up treasure and, like, making it your own into, like, this custom jewelry. One of my favorite dolls. She's great. Whenever I, like, introduce people to the fact that I collect dolls and they wonder, well, what's so interesting about them? This is one of the ones I showcase, and typically people understand why I get them, because they're very neat art pieces to have. Now let's talk about the doll that got me into collecting. This is Cyrena von Boo. She is one of the, what are they called? They're freaky fusions, which is a concept where they combine multiple monster types together. She is a mermaid ghost, and she is awesome, and I loved her concept, and this one I can actually pick up. She has this very white skin that's semi-translucent, which unfortunately means that her nose disappears when you look at her straight on. And she has full accessories. She has asymmetrical earrings that are all chains, and her necklace is chains. And she has these really cool, like, tendril cuffs. And you can see her fins are also, like, this really cool pattern that's not traditional fins, and these dark black translucent webbed hands. She's just really cool. She has these, like, this braided blue hair, and you can see, if I pull her back a little bit, that her tail is this beautiful, like, translucent black fan. And she has this chain accessory all over her, like, body, and she transitions from white to black. She is gorgeous. Gorgeous doll. And when I got into collecting, or rather, when I saw some stuff online about people collecting Monster High dolls, I kind of looked around at stuff, and I do remember really liking her design from back when I was a kid. And I was like, oh, well, you know, if I was ever to get one doll, it would probably be this one. And, well, I guess it's like drugs, huh? Like a gateway into getting further into a hobby. And so she was the first doll I picked up, and I think, like, I'm pretty sure she was the first, but I think I got a couple of them together. So she was first, and I believe Peri and Pearl were some of the secondary ones I got. And some of the Spectra dolls and stuff. It's hard to remember because I got all of them pretty much as a cluster together. But yeah, no, she is absolutely gorgeous. And technically this fin, like, it opens. Like, you can kind of see, let me grab her again. You can kind of see that it doubles like this. So it can flare open into a base so she can stand, which is really cool. In the same way that Peri and Pearl here is standing, because you can shape the tail to make a stand. It works better for Peri and Pearl. It looks more natural, while for Cyrena it just kind of looks weird, like she's just standing on top of her tail instead of, like a snake. But yeah, that's my mermaid girls. That's my sea monster girls, or lake monster for Lorna, sorry. And they're companion pieces that are just here to like fill out the shelf and look nice. So this is this shelf with my sea monsters. Hope you found it interesting, me rambling about these girls, and I'll see you next time.